Invoicing with precision payment follow-up to increase collections up to 16% is possible with Dana Connect. This is the way we do it. The payment date is reminded with an email a few days before the due date. We also send a reminder of that due date of the invoice. And then, a few days later, we connect to your system to check if it's still marked as not paid in your database. Then an email or SMS is automatically sent, remembering to make the payment. This, as I said, improves the collection rate up to 16% and lowers costs, as you would not depend on the call center anymore. Also, clients are actually happy that they are reminded and also that they are handed a quick and easy way to pay. This is where in Dana Connect you can edit the communication flow. It is very easy to do once you visualize all the steps that you have to add, as we did before in the previous graphic. Let's put it into practice. We're going to emulate that graphic right here. The first thing we did is set up a filter where the automation flow will only start if the invoice date corresponds to today. So then we set up an email. In this email, we're attaching the actual invoice and the body of the email, and the content is pretty much a summary of the invoice attached. There's also a call to action button where we're inviting the customer to pay. So there's a possibility this email bounces. If so, we have set up a filter here for that verification. So if that email bounces, there's an SMS going to be sent immediately, a personalized message informing the customer that we have sent the invoice information attached right here with a special tag, and also informing the customer that the email has failed. So let's assume that the email passed. It went through. So now we have set up a timer of 7 days, a week. And after those 7 days have passed, another email is sent, another reminder. Now the content might change. You might draw up or bigger your call to action button, reminding them that the due date is drawing closer. And after you've done that, there's also, again, the possibility that this email bounces, so you set up your SMS node or your text message just in case. If it bounces, it sends the exact immediate information, as we did before. Let's go back. Let's assume that the email goes through. So we wait another 7 days before the due date is on. So now it's time to check our database. And we do so by sending this special URL code with the ID, customer ID, to your system. So we can understand whether the customer has paid on or before this due date. Once our database has been updated, there are 2 courses of action. We have set up the filter appropriately. If the invoice has been paid, an email is sent with a thank you note, also informing that payment has been received and inviting the customer to visit the portal to get a copy of that receipt, or maybe visit, get more information about their transactions made. Now, if the other course of action, the payment has not been received, another email is sent with a little more urgent content and a bigger call to action button, informing the customer that payment is due today. So we continue by also setting up our SMS and the filter just in case that email doesn't go through. We wait a period of 3 days to check our database once again. If payment has not been made, like we can see in this filter that we have set up, invoice paid does not contain a yes value, then there's an immediate phone call made with a personalized message to the customer, where we're calling from our company to remind them of a debt of the amount of such and such dollar amount specifically. And that after that call, the customer will receive a text message with a call to action button inserted in that text message where they can make the payment. So, as you can see, it is pretty straightforward, very detailed communication flow. This is, of course, 100% configurable to your own needs. But the important thing that I want to remind you here is that in collections, the key to success is to persist and do your follow-up. This is the automatic, most efficient way to do it and to get that 16% increase in payment, as we mentioned before.